Hey, what's going on? This is Joe and Leah from Let's Head Wherever, and today we have some tips to help you prepare for your weekend RV camping trip.
Let's get started. So for us, a weekend camping trip is all about relaxation, and I'm all about preparing ahead of time to make sure that the entire trip can be as relaxing as possible.
Absolutely, because like the last thing you want, you have 2 days, maybe you have 3 days if it's a long weekend to get out and enjoy yourself. You want to spend half that time running around trying to figure out what you're going to do.
Nope. So here's what we do to make it easy.
Your next camping trip honestly begins while you're wrapping up your previous camping trip. One of the things that we always like to do is clean everything. Give the camper a nice scrub down, pull the linens off, wash all the linens, and just basically when you walk back into your camper the next time and you're all excited about your next trip, you don't want to have to clean up a mess that you left from last time.
Yep. So when we get home from a camping trip, we take all the linens, all the towels, everything like that out. We go home and wash everything. We bring it back in and wipe down absolutely every surface. So when we open the door to go camping, it smells
it's clean and everything's ready to go. And you just kind of come in with like a good headspace, like, now it's time to go relax.
Even if you're not doing any laundry in your RV, we find that it's really helpful to keep a hamper. And that way you can throw not only your dirty clothes, but also all the linens from all the beds before you go home. And then we just take the whole hamper and toss it in the back of the truck. Makes it easier to get everything out in one trip.
Plus, if you're camping in Florida in summertime, it's hot. You don't want all your funk spread out throughout the thing. Consolidate the funk. So especially if you live in a section of the country where there is high humidity like we did for many years, you want to make sure you have your dehumidifiers running. When we get everything clean and everything is cleared out, like the last thing that we check is that the dehumidifiers are on and that the water reservoirs are empty. That way, a day later, they don't kick off and then we come in and it's like mildewy, funky in there.
Yeah, and if you're putting fresh, clean linens on your bed, you want to make sure that they stay fresh and clean.
Yeah.
The last thing we do before we leave the RV after a trip is to take a picture of the pantry and the fridge so we know exactly what's in there.
Yeah, I know it sounds silly, but you got a million things going on. You're loading the trucks and unhooking everything and cleaning everything. You're not going to remember that you're almost out of ketchup or that you only have, a little bit of mayonnaise left. Just take a picture of the fridge, take a picture of the pantry, and that way when you're getting ready for your next trip, you can go back, exactly everything you have.
You don't want to show up thinking you have cold beer to find out that the fridge is empty.
I don't have any cold beer. So we honestly think one of the biggest components about a successful weekend camping trip is meal planning, because that's going to be like the biggest source of stress. The kids are hungry, you're hungry, what are we going to eat? So do that ahead of time. And one of the things we're lucky about is where we stored our RV, we were able to keep it plugged in. So I mentioned the ketchup and the mayonnaise. We are fortunate enough to leave a ketchup and a mayonnaise and a mustard and all, some of the basic condiments of a camping trip. We left them here. So that's one less thing we have to worry about.
We had several trips where a kid whined that there was no honey mustard.
Right.
So there's honey mustard at all times now. Staples in the pantry, we leave those things. When you leave, make sure that obviously any perishable food needs to come out. I know that seems obvious, but I would check. That's one of the things we do before we leave is we check the entire pantry for perishables. We've had maybe more than one instance where
couple science projects going on when we come back about 5 or 6 days later. You used to have a nice half a loaf of bread and now you have like a nice half a loaf of green bread. And it's not appetizing. You don't want to eat that.
No. We use baskets for everything. So we've got baskets in the pantry, but we've got little small baskets from the Dollar Tree in the fridge. Not only does it make it really easy to keep the tiny fridge organized and keeps everything still when we're traveling, but it makes it really easy to unpack and pack when we leave. So we'll keep like one tray for cheese and one tray for meat and stuff like that. And it makes it easier for us to pack up to bring to the rig when we're going to be camping for a weekend.
Yeah, and to bring it home afterwards. If, we have a couple of those like cooler bags, like the real deep ones, and it's easier to just, grab a basket of cream cheese and cheese slices and stuff it in there instead of having to, go through the fridge onesie twosies trying to pick everything out. Just keep it all consolidated. And that way too, hey kids, can you grab the cheese? Where's the cheese? It's in the red tray, and everything's in one spot.
So we start with meal planning a few days before the camping trip, and we try and make sure that we order groceries. I think we've said it before, but I hate grocery shopping. I do grocery pickup like 100% of the time because I hate grocery shopping. So we make sure we do meal planning and enough time to pick up our groceries at least the day before. Before a camping weekend, the whole family gets together and meal plans for what we're going to eat for the weekend. I make everyone participate so no one gets to complain. Try and list what we're making for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the weekend. And then I add it all to the Walmart grocery cart to pick up the day before we leave. And that way we know we've got everything we need, so we don't have to make an emergency run to the store.
Everything's fresh, too, if you pick it up the day before. You don't want to pick up, your meats and stuff, 4 days before you go camping.
And our kids like really weird camping foods, like salad is the thing they
like
request
salad.
every camping trip. So I want that to be fresh.
Nachos we make a lot. You don't want ground beef hanging out for like a week before you go trying to use it.
So we pack up all of the dry goods the night before in a big tote bag so that everything's ready. And then all of our cold stuff, we make a checklist for. No, it probably sounds a little anal, and I probably am a little anal, but I have forgotten things before, and I just want to make sure that when we get to the campsite, not only do we have everything, but that we know we have everything, so we're not running around wondering if something's missing.
Again, this is your short 2-day or 3-day to relax. You don't want to stress out about anything. Stress out before you arrive. When you arrive, relax time. So we were fortunate that our RV was parked close. It was about 5 minutes away. So we would cheat sometimes and bring up the non-perishable stuff the night before. And then again, we wake up on Friday morning or Saturday morning, it's time to roll out. One less thing you need to worry about.
So a major key for our success for a weekend camping is what we store in the RV.
Yep.
And that is everything. If we are going to need it for a weekend, for a week, for a summer, we have it in the RV. So I'd say the biggest area that makes a difference is your kitchenware. And anything we have in a kitchen at home, we have in the rig. So it can sound kind of overwhelming or pricey, but there's a pretty good chance that you've got doubles of a lot of stuff in your kitchen that you're really not using.
Yeah, so if you get a camper, go through your utensils drawer. Chances are you have an extra spoon or an extra whisk or spatula or something that you can spare. You don't need it at the house. Bring it to the camper. That way you're not having to actually bring everything to and from your camper and back.
Yeah. We've got stuck before having steak for dinner and using like butter knives to saw it for a while. So we really do keep a completely stocked kitchen for everything we would need to cook. We keep any toiletry you keep in your house here in the rig. So we have nail clippers, tweezers, razors,
toothpaste, mouthwash,
feminine products.
We have our RV toothbrushes.
If we would need it at home for a toiletry, we've got it here in the rig.
And the makeup that I need to use and stuff like that. We'll make sure we bring that stuff too.
So we think about anything you would pack for a regular vacation, keep in your RV. And then if you think about anything a hotel would provide, keep that too. So what do we pack? That's really easy. Almost nothing.
Clothes.
We each bring a small collapsible backpack that folds down to almost no space. And we each keep our clothes and our phone and a computer if we're going to need it for the trip. And really, that's it. Everything else is in the rig.
Yeah, I think other than clothes, we might bring a guitar or two. I like my little JBL portable speaker that I bring to play music and stuff like that. But for the most part, all of the stuff that you would think that you would need for a long trip, we keep it here if we can.
So even something as simple as
phone
chargers. We have Apple Watches and iPhones. We have the chargers exactly where they would be used in the rig, and they live there.
Yeah, because honestly, you can buy a pack of cords for your iPhones or Androids, whatever you have. You can get those extra things for dollars on Amazon. Just leave them here, and I'm going to say it again. One less thing you need to worry about. One less thing to forget.
Hope these quick tips help you make it nice and easy to prepare for a great weekend away RV camping.
Yeah, and if you guys like watching our videos, learning about RV life, how to RV lifestyle, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have a bunch of cool adventures coming up that we would love to have you guys along for.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.